Good morning. So this is the first video of April. I know I haven't done very many videos in the last couple of weeks. It's been a bit crazy since February. So I had promised to take a walk around the garden. So this is the backyard, and as you can see, the bougainvillea is starting to get leaves again, same on the red one. And we're actually going to cut some of these blooms off this week to enter them into the agricultural exhibition. And yes, over here I have a hollyhock finally. So this is the one we planted last year. I think I'm going to start some more seeds because I do like, one, how much space they take up, and two, just the color pop. And we have lots and lots of coleus. The green right there is Maximilian sunflower that we planted last year, and it's come back. The flowers were lovely. I only had one plant last year, and now it looks like there are at least two. And the pentas right here, the pink pentas, they were planted in 2020. They're looking a bit worse for wear, so I might trim them in the evening when it's a bit cooler. I will be entering coleus into the annual exhibition, the Ag Show. So we have enough different types that all of us can enter three stalks a piece. So we have two here and a third variety over here. So we definitely have more than enough. Here we have our little container gardens. I've been taking a lot of these and putting them into the ground. So I may do that and just replant as the season goes along. Oh, and the orange has come back. I thought it was dead at one point this winter, but it looks as if that one has come back. And that's, actually no, that's a lemon. That's Seamus's lemon that he planted from a seed. It's now about 3 years old, I would say. This one right here, we have a Brazilian jasmine, or I think mandevilla. And then I have, it looks like I have an awful lot of Thunbergia, the sunsets of Thunbergia in there, the black-eyed Susan vine. I'm wondering if I should take out some of the stuff in the pot and put some dahlias in. So we'll see. Sorry about all of the dried palm leaves. We are making hats for the competition. Seamus covered his hat yesterday. Liam still has to do his. Here we have one of our Ito peonies, and then we have a cutting of Rose of Sharon hibiscus, and then I'm trying to grow a calendula in the pot next to that. That down here, that is our stephanotis. There was a rose next to it, but Aiden weed whacked it. We don't have any leaves on the frangipani yet, but you can see that they're starting to come out at the tips. But what we do have are all of these little white pet roses growing all over the place throughout the tree due to the fact that we've let the canes grow over the tree. So yeah, they're absolutely amazing. And I mean, it looks like a bridal bouquet for some of them, and the pink of the buds. We're gonna enter this one into the annual exhibition as well for a 3-bloom progression, where you actually have the rosebud and the partially opened rose, and then the fully opened rose. So that's one that will go into the competition. This little garden that we have on the side is looking great. Again, more coleus. This is the fourth type that I think we might enter. Seamus planted cucumber here, and that's growing up the trellis along with the Thunbergia and the sweet peas that are still there. Lots of pansies in here, some Easter lilies, some dianthus. We've had a really good run with the rose experiment. I've transplanted a lot of them. So these are 3 new cuttings from last week because I put the other ones into the garden. And then over here, we have the hydrangea coming back. And this is a watermelon in a pot. And then we do have things growing on the table. They're not doing very well. They seem to, the water runs out really quickly. So with the annual exhibition, I never managed to have a calla lily out to be able to enter it. So again, we had one last week, but we won't have one for this week. This is another rose that I might be able to use for the 3-bloom progression, but I only see one bud out, so perhaps not. This is the other lemon that is coming back. And you can see we cut off some of the lower branches over the winter to try to start growing it up, but the leaves are only just starting to come back, so we didn't enter any of the lemon trees this year. Over here, I need to clear out the clover, but we put a kale in here because we wanted to use it for the shape, but we put in here scabiosa, some coleus, and then we still have that pink poinsettia in the front. So we haven't done anything with that. It looks like we lost the daylily that was in there though. Seamus's garden for his Cub Scout badge. He's writing up the things right now because, of course, as you know from actually you probably don't know, the beginning of March he planted it out, and then we had windstorms and everything got blown to smithereens. He had 4 snapdragons along the back. Only one survived, and that's from cutting it back. However, it appears that one of his cosmos survived and is flowering. His sweet peas were stunted a bit, but now they're starting to grow and reach up. He ended up putting a cucumber in, and that is having its best life. And then I trimmed the grape that's there, and it's starting to leaf out on the trellis as well. He does have some carrots in here. He decided not to thin them out, and it looks like we have a volunteer radish or something. The strawberries are fine on this side. Strangely enough, the wind blew all of the soil over to this side. So while the sunflower is fine, all of the strawberries and such that were on this side haven't survived. But the strawberries survived on this side. But as you can see here, the sunflower didn't survive. And then this past week he did a little bit of succession planting. He was able to put this columbine in that we did as an experiment. And then we have, this is the second Cosmo. It looks like it did flower, so we'll deadhead that and see what happens. But let's just make sure it gets a bit of sun because of these cucumbers. I might cut back some of the leaves. And then he has a dahlia in the midst of it. He planted 2 dahlias in here, not dahlias, zinnias in here, and it looks as if one has survived. So he should be able to turn in the paperwork for his badge shortly. And then in this flower bed, we need to do some weeding, but the coleus that we planted at Christmas time did indeed take. And then we have a star jasmine, and look at that big weed in there, and the little climbing rose next to it. Over in this corner, strangely enough, it was a storage area, and we ended up with all of these plants as the pigeonberry, starts to come back, but it's not going to provide the shade over in this area that we had last year because of the branches, as you can see here, breaking off during the hurricane. So here we have pink guava seedling, and we need to take that weed out. The pink guava from last year, we started to cut some of the bottom branches off, which is why we have the little, I say seedling, the cutting that's in here. We have the coleus pot that is in the pot we had last year for the, what was in this pot? Lavender, and the lavender never came back. So, I do need to take it out, but I haven't yet. In this corner, we have a volunteer tomato plant. We put some alyssum on the bottom, so that seems to be doing well. We even have a flower coming up. And then another set of coleus that is around this hibiscus cutting. And then we have the frangipani branch that broke off from the hurricane, and we have that in a pot with a volunteer cherry right here and some coleus. And then we have the coleus that was in the ground. The monstera is still in the corner. Looks like we have to trim that a bit. We have some sweet peas in with the grapevine. The container garden section, most of the stuff that we are preparing for the ag show. Liam's kale, not doing very well. It's doing better than it was when it was out front, but it's still not 100%. Seamus's apple leaves are coming back. These are the herbaceous peonies, and the wind-burnt leaves are still on it, but you see it's flushed out with some more leaves. There's a sweet potato vine down there. I haven't done anything with that pot yet. This right here is the fig, and that's looking really good. All the leaves have come back. The strawberry pot, looks like we got some strawberries starting to come out. Seamus's kale's doing much better, and we've put it into a bigger pot due to that. Again, volunteer tomato seedlings from last year. They just popped up, so I've just left them alone and put a alyssum in the middle. And this is the pretty kale. So I put this in this pot so it's ornamental. The cedar, we have 1 and 2 right here. They'll go enter into the show. These were both grown from seed. And then Seamus's mandarin orange. We keep trying to decide whether we're going to put it in or not, but at this point I don't think we will. And this is the tree peony that hasn't done anything, and it looks like it may have dried out, but I've been told to just leave it. And then the side garden is probably looking the best that it's looked for a while. We have the Rose of Sharon, hibiscus, and lots of different geraniums and coleus going down the driveway down into the lantana. And then this pot right here, major slug action, driving me nuts. So, I've finally done something about it, but it may be too late for that poor chrysanthemum. And then down this side, lots of Bermudiana, and the coleus in this area is looking pretty good. This is the third Ito, the other 2 being in the backyard, and this one is had blown to smithereens, but it still has some leaves, so I'm leaving that, but we're putting other things in the pot for the rest of the year. The pentas in this one are looking rather good. This garden, as you see, lots and lots of Bermudiana. This is where I'm going to get the roses for the bloom progression for the second entry, because it's just constantly lots and lots of roses coming out every day. So that's probably going to be the source of the second one, but we'll see. And then down here, this is the other herbaceous peony. You can see 2 of them have, when they blew to smithereens, they've died back, but the 3rd one and 4th one are still doing rather well. And then we put some alyssum in there, and it looks like we have zinnia and a few things in the back. We're going to enter some of this rosemary. I think the boys have to cut 6 stems to enter, so they'll do that, I think on Wednesday. And then we have a hollyhock back here in front of this geranium. And right now I still have a lot of nasturtiums. I've been, as I plant more things, I just pull some out and give it to the bunnies and the bunny and the chickens so that they eat it. And then, I just have space in the garden to put stuff in. So we have a few different colors there. This is the other tree peony. This one is coming along nicely. Lots of leaves have been developing, and we've put some chamomile and zinnias and such around that. Have some sunflowers coming up in this garden. The rose is looking nice. I might actually put something to train this shell rose up. In fact, we have one of the roses came out this morning. I don't think I'm going to have enough to do 3 bloom transition here, but the kids also get to do a bloom in the bowl, so that may actually help them with that one. And then we have the pawpaw that is just getting bigger and bigger. I haven't taken it off yet. And then Liam's gardening experiment, his seeds came up and he transplanted them into these little pots. And then we have the hydrangeas started flowering. So I'm letting that have its day. And then that is Forrest, and he's checking out our vinca. And then we have dianthus and some stalk in there. And then we have over there our Cavendish banana in the corner, and some coleus. So everything's looking rather nice. And then of course our Chinese hibiscus. Hopefully we'll be able to enter this one in as well. And over on this side we can enter single hibiscus and double hibiscus into the competition. So this will be probably one of the single hibiscus. This one isn't open, but that's a white with red eye. That's another single that can be entered. And then over here we have some chrysanthemums that I haven't put in the garden from Easter that were put on the graves. We have hydrangea that was grown from seed. That's in there. We have some flamingo celosia right here, and some coreopsis right here. Again, these are tomatoes that came up from seeds that were dropped in there last summer, so it looks like they've come back up. There's the flat leaf parsley that Seamus is putting into the competition. Lavender that I'm going to put into the competition. Aiden was going to put the rosemary, but we actually haven't done very much with it. The other option, of course, is this royal purple basil, but we had some issues with something fell on it, so it hasn't done as well over the last week or so. And then another kale, and then over here we have the kids milk crate gardens. So this is Liam's with some cactus in there to go along with stock. This is Easter lily that we have to put the bulb into the garden. This is Seamus's. Looks like the chrysanthemum's being eaten by something. I think these go in tomorrow, so we may have to clean that up a bit. And then back here, this is Liam's Greek basil, and then we have their strawberry plants at the back. And then we've actually been doing pretty good with our seedlings. I've managed to plant out a few things. We have some marigolds that Liam needs to put into his garden over at his grandmother's house. Looks like the Rudbeckia is getting ready to go into the ground. We have some echinacea. The lavender seems to be coming up. And, you know, lots of little bits and pieces. That's catmint. Down here, more catmint. Sunflower. I replanted some of these down here. The bachelor buttons. We have some coming up. We'll have a salvia. So yeah, slow, but you know, things are working. Then over here we have quite a few bits and pieces coming up. Lots of dianthus, and we have coleus. You see the sweet peas are all over the place, some stalk. And the snapdragons. And then we have the climbing roses that have been trimmed, and the canes woven around. Our Easter lilies that'll probably come up in June. And then the front we have the sweet peas that are starting to get up to the trellis with some stalk and some pansies. And you see pansies and stock in there, and dianthus. So yeah. And then over on this side, this is a pot that Seamus has been working on, but we had a slug in it, and we finally found the slug and got rid of the slug. So it ate all of his parsley and all of his basil, but you can see the thyme is still there, and we do need to trim the rosemary. And then over in this section, we've just been putting in various zinnias and stock and pansies. The geraniums have been there for a while. The snapdragons are growing really, really big. The Dusty Miller's taken over. All of the Coralitas coming back. These are the Christmas poinsettias that are outside, and then we have violas that have gone crazy. This is my other pot of lavender, and all the leaves coming back on the hydrangea. We have a PG hydrangea seedling in here that we grew from seed. And then this is the shell rose. We've put it into the ground. This was another pot of violas that was at the graveyard, and it dried out. I brought it home, and it's flushed back out quite a bit. One of the seedlings from the backyard in a pot. The second seedling is over here in a pot, and it's doing rather well. This was the artichoke pot from last year. And then we have a lot of stuff growing in here. I've gotten rid of the fabric pot and put the peppers in here, but it looks like I need to put some more in. And then this is the other herbaceous peony pot. This one actually has flowered. We had one of the white peonies in this pot, so that's doing rather well. And then over here, this is the third rose from the backyard, and we put it out here. It ends up being a pink rose. So that's over here. We have daylilies, and this pot has the pumpkins from Halloween. When the slug ate it, all the seeds went into the little pot by the door, and every time they pop up, we put them in the pot, and they now seem to be doing rather well. And then our little pot right here, Liam's pot, has lots of columbine in there, and pansies and stock. And then you also see that we have the Thunbergia growing along the back. And then we have our Rose of Sharon hibiscus, and some coleus, and some Easter lilies on this side. So everything's coming along nicely. Lots of weeding to do. We're just doing it bit by bit. This grass is just full of weeds and what's that stuff called? Clover and such. The leaves are coming back on the cherry trees. This is the other hibiscus that can be used for the single hibiscus. Whereas our double hibiscus, the only one we have this year, is the red. So hopefully we'll have some red for next Saturday to enter. And finally, we've just put a couple of coleus into this garden. This is a very shaded garden, but the coleus seem to do rather well. And we have coleus in this little garden as well, and some angelonia over on this side and this side. They were both grown from cuttings, so we'll see how they do. So that's it for now, and hopefully the garden will come along really well as the season goes along. I'll finish off by showing all the seeds on the cedar tree, and this is how we start our seedlings, in that usually a bird will eat the seeds, particularly the berries, particularly when they ripen, and then drop them. And as we find the little cedar tree growing up, we then try to put it in a pot so that we can actually let it grow, and then, as you all know, we transfer it in the back garden so that we get more endemics growing in the backyard. So you have a great day. See you later.